Hi and welcome to The Table. I'm Rachel. I'm joined today by Fiona, Melody and Mary Ellen. Welcome, ladies. How are you?
Good.
Fantastic. Good. Now, recently in New Zealand, on a breakfast show there, a newsreader was talking about an incident that happened to him. His name is Daniel Faitaua. He went to a restaurant with his family having a nice evening out. Another family was there doing the same thing, except their children were loud, rowdy, outrageous. Not only that, they came over to his table, put his kids' crayons in their drinks, tipped over the drinks on the table. Have you ever wanted or have you ever told off someone else's kids?
They took the crayons too.
Because he did.
I'd be tempted to throw the crayons at them. Yeah. No, but on a serious note.
He did tell the kids off.
On a serious note, being of Samoan descent, we were raised as a village anyway, so it was kind of common to be disciplined from aunts, uncles and whatnot. And growing up, we went to different churches and I remember a woman sitting at the back of the kids and she'd have a stick and any kid that acted up... So it's kind of like we're raised by a village and disciplined by a village. So I'm not surprised that he did step in.
How is this different to, like, say, for example, you know, you're a mom, you brought this 2-year-old to your supermarket and she wants something and she has a breakdown and someone steps in and say, you need to do better to do something with your kid.
Have you had that happen?
No. But I've read a lot about it and that there has been a lot of mums who have had that issues.
What, the child is acting up, so someone else...
You know, throwing themselves on the floor, wanting a certain item. And someone steps in and says, you know, you need to do better to discipline your child.
How do you feel?
I think you'd have to step in and say you need to do better to mind your own business. Like, seriously.
So then do we tell Daniel Faitaua to actually mind his own business?
No, but
what's the
parents,
difference?
No, the parents didn't even say anything. He went over and he said to them, off, go back to your parents and behave.
And apparently they went back to drinking their champagne or whatever it was that they were doing. So they
didn't.
It really doesn't depend on how much effort the parents are putting in the first place. If the parents don't care, well, obviously
the parents are not around.
Well, exactly. There's room for discipline.
I think I take disciplining my child quite seriously. So if someone else took it upon themselves to discipline my child, it would have to be warranted. And if I wasn't there, it would be, you know, what do you say?
Well, interesting you say if you're not there, because personally I've done a lot of babysitting in the past and I really struggle. I really struggle to discipline other people's kids because they're not your kids.
It's hard.
And you want to be asked back to babysit again because, you know, it's money, it's experience. And so in that sense, I really struggle. But I think if the parents aren't around, if you're not going to see the parents,
Well, I don't know. Maybe
I think, but there's also a line. There's a line.
Obviously there's a line. Obviously.
No child abuse, but I think, you know, there's incidences in kids' play centres where parents have got into all-in-all brawls because they've stepped in and disciplined someone else's child. And these cases have gone into court. So that's extreme, you know. So I think your approach needs...
I've done it.
And
my daughter was at the pool and I still feel like I'm happy with what I did. So we're at the pool, we're sitting there, all the parents are sitting here watching our kids in the swimming. My eldest daughter at the time was probably about 3 or 4, so she was quite young learning to swim. This little kid kept dunking her under.
Oh, see?
He did it once.
That's
exactly right. But the mum was doing nothing. The second time he did it, I went over, I wrenched that kid out. Oh, my goodness. You do that again and I'll make sure it happens to you. Do you want that? And he's like, no. And I'm sorry, that sounds gruesome, but Mama Bear took over. I put him down, I sat back down. The mum did absolutely nothing again and had another mum up there go, good on you. I'm like, oh, sorry.
Did the mum see what you did?
She saw what I did.
Wow.
Oh. Yeah.
That's interesting. I remember
and didn't say anything.
No, just left it at that.
But I think you also have to be careful with your approach in this day and age. You know, you can end up, you know, in physical altercations, which is, I don't think anyone wants to go there, but there's an approach. And I think in your method, the way that you discipline someone else's child, if you don't know that person, you have to think about that.
I think I like to be careful with the word discipline. I think it's just basically a stern word because, because when we say discipline, you're thinking...
I'm not talking about hitting a child.
Yeah, exactly. So I think maybe it's just a matter of a stern word. You know, you need to watch yourself better, go back to your mom or something like that.
I do the 3-strike rule. One time, I'll let you go. Second time, I'm going to give you a stern warning. Third time, I'm stepping in.
Ooh.
Yeah, look, I was going to say, I think it does depend on how you do it. And I think, you know, you can even go to the parent and say, look, are you going to do anything? I think there's lots of different approaches we can take without having to go to court or get that far. Have you done anything like that? Have you had your kids in a situation where you've had to step in or step in for someone else's kids? Go to Facebook, have your say, or follow us on Instagram and you can go to YouTube, subscribe and look at all our segments. Bye.